Hello, I'm Angela Box. You're watching Angela's Soapbox. You guys, I'm really excited to have my new friend Mike McCormick back. Mike and I bonded a little bit the last time he was here, and I was like, you need to come on a lot because he uncovers a lot of great stuff in his Substack. Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. And I wanted to bring it back on because he's got a really interesting some tea about the Catholic Church. Hi, Mike.
Hey Angela, how you doing?
Well, before we jump into everything, I'm great. Deep into wedding prep, so 5 weeks till the wedding. So my
Congrats.
head's a little limp. But before we get into that, I was telling you off the air, I'm like, man, every day is Christmas now for MAGA.
Right.
Like it is wild what we are uncovering. And you were on it with the USAID uh
Yeah.
um payouts to Pakistan, which is if you could like give the summary of what we talked about last time and how USAID kind of clicks into all that
Right.
before we get into the
So
new thing.
I live right across the street from. I'm sorry. I live down the street from some pretty big, um, top secret, not top secret, some government installations that it's one place called the Intelligence Community Campus, and then across the river is the CIA. So when I go for a walk out in the woods, there's the CIA across the river. And they're having a hard, and so people that work there live all around me. So I grew up in this neighborhood, and I grew up with kids whose parents were in the CIA. They're having
Mhm.
a hard time at the CIA. USAID is shut down. They're having a hard time in this city right now, uh, accepting where they're going, and they're being shut down for a variety of reasons, so many reasons.
Yeah.
One thing that you and I talked about was when I was a stenographer in 2005, Dick Cheney took a helicopter tour to over what at the time was a hideout for Osama bin Laden. And I think the CIA and USAID were aware that he was there. They sent Cheney there and they kept him on ice for 5 years while Americans were risking their lives around the world looking for him. So, this is the kind of behind the scenes secretive operations that the CIA and USAID have used our tax money for. And it doesn't help us, it hurts us. And we
Yeah.
don't understand it. And they try to tell us, oh, we're doing it for your good. It's not. In the long run, it's not are good. So that's what we're up against. And that's what Trump and Elon Musk and the DOGE people are getting to.
And I'm telling you, every day we hunker down and we watch whatever press conference Trump does or Carolyn Levitt does. It's like, I mean, it's pull out the popcorn every single damn day now. It's fantastic. And when they talk about, saving democracy, no, they just want to save their corrupt system. That's what
Right.
I think we're figuring out.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people in this area who believe in what they've done with their entire careers. And all of
Mhm.
a sudden they're realizing that they've been lied to too. They were told to go in and do the good job for the federal government, and they're looking at the top people who Dick Cheney's and Bush's. They weren't good people. Obama and Biden, they weren't good people. And Trump came in from the outside and he got ridiculed for what he did in 2016, but he's fighting hard all the time for us now.
He is, and I mean, yeah. If the Cheneys and the Bushes are joining forces with the Clintons and the Obamas, like something in the milk ain't clean here. So I think this is going to be quite an enlightening time, and especially when the dots start to be connected with the money laundering. I mean, that's what they're panicked over. It's not just these programs are going to get exposed and cut. It's that when people realize that, oh wait, so that money didn't go to transgender mice in studying in Peru. No, it actually got kicked back to your favorite Democrat politician. That's when the panic is really going to set in.
Right. And that's setting in. And,
Yeah.
one of the things that happened yesterday that was significant is it's setting in places around the world. One of them is the Vatican. Pope Francis wrote a letter yesterday to the U.S. bishops talking about how terrible this new anti-immigration policy is, and it's unchristian, or I'm not sure exactly the phrases he used. But he attacked Trump. He said we have to build bridges, not walls. And so he was immediately attacked. Tom Homan, who's in charge of the immigration reform, the illegal immigration reform, walked out on the driveway of the West Wing and said, "Look, the Pope has walls around his Vatican. Why can he use walls of the Vatican and we can't? He should stick to making sure what goes on in the church is what's important to the church." Well, that's what I've written about in my book, and the Pope is part of what CIA did, what the USAID did. The USAID has been funding the Catholic Church with billions of dollars. Health and Human
Wow.
Services has funded the Catholic Church with hundreds of millions of dollars to settle refugees in America, refugees from all around the world, but a lot of them from Central America and Mexico. And they come here and they get money and they get taken care of. And the church gets money too to do this through their non-government organizations. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops was really involved in this. And that's who Pope Francis wrote the letter to, was the Catholic bishops. It's all coming out. And Pope Francis has a big confession to make. I don't know. I'm a Catholic, but I'm not a really, I call myself a thin ice Catholic. I'm on thin
Same.
ice. Whenever I go, I'm in church, but I'm on thin ice whenever I do anything Catholic. So, but I do know the Pope is not being Catholic. He is
No.
illegitimate. I've said this before. He's an illegitimate Pope. And that's a big thing to say, but I have the evidence in my book to back it up.
Speaking of that, I don't know how much you follow Marian apparitions. Us Catholics here know what that is. There's a very famous one, the Lady of Fatima, Portugal. And it also kind of corresponds with the Medjugorje Marian apparitions that, weirdly enough, the Catholic Church has never said was legit, which tells you a lot, because there was a lot of things that were so dead on accurate. And one of the things it said in the Medjugorje Marian apparitions was that the last revelation was that there was going to be one great last pope, which I think we can all agree is Pope John Paul II. And then there was a placeholder Benedict. And then supposedly there's the last pope. That would be Francis. And supposedly Fatima, her last revelation is supposed to come out this September of 2025. And the Catholic Church has hidden that. And so I'm really wondering if what I hope happens is that there's a reformation of the Catholic Church and an exposure of what these evil men have done to a beautiful church and a beautiful tradition. It's just been destroyed by men.
Yeah. And the CIA was part of it.
I mean, that's just wild to me that the CIA is involved. What?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, the Catholic Church fits exactly into what an intelligence agency would want to have. They've got global reach. They have intimate contact with their communities. They've got a network of buildings that are set out there with leadership in these buildings that are respected and admired by their communities. If they can corrupt this leadership in these communities, or not corrupt it, but just influence it, they can influence those communities. That's what the CIA did in Argentina in the 1970s. It was called Operation Condor. Well, there was a priest down there named Bergoglio who was involved with, and what the CIA did was they went into there and they, to fight the communists, the left-wing communists, they backed really hardcore right-wing military people who took over the government and were vicious in how they managed the population. And that became what they called the dirty war, the silent war. Well, Bergoglio was in the middle of it, and he was on the side of the military people. And there were questions about how he originally started. Well, the CIA was backing that. He's been backed and in contact with CIA since the 70s. And in 2013, they put him into the papacy through Cardinal McCarrick. And that's what's in my book. And so that's what I wrote about.
So Bergoglio is Francis's real name.
Yeah, he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires. I can't remember his first name. Jose Mario Bergoglio. I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure it is. Or Jorge Mario Bergoglio is his name. So this is the guy who came up through the ranks, influenced by the CIA back then, and now look where he is. You may be right about him being the last pope. He never was a pope.
Yeah, it's weird though that he would be siding with the right wing military in Argentina, considering that he's basically, I mean, he's pretty an out and out communist. And so maybe it was just a power play. Maybe it was just a way for him to gain power and gain control and side with the people that were going to be able to advance his career.
It's hard to tell where this shift of his attitude came in. There's a movie called The Two Popes that kind of portrays it, and personally, I think that movie was a CIA influenced Hollywood production. So you got to be careful about what you're seeing there. But there's some of the histories in there. But why is Bergoglio Francis who he is now, and who's influencing? That's the big question.
Well, I mean, this is such a nice little rabbit hole you've created, and I want people to follow your Substack, buy your book. So tell everyone your Substack and what is the name of the book.
The Substack is Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. And the name of the book, it's on Amazon now, is An Almost Insurmountable Evil: How Obama's Deep State Defiled the Catholic Church and Executed the Wuhan Pandemic.
Oh, I want to read that. So I got your other book that you sent me. Hopefully, they'll send me that one too. That would be great.
Good. Okay.
I will absolutely read it. Can't wait. Here's my timer. Can't wait to have you back again. You'll be on the Saturday show also. We'll dive into this a little bit more. And guys, thanks for listening to Angela's Soapbox. I'll see you next time.